And Aunt Lydia plays a good guy too, so
Who knew?
everyone's transformed in this movie.
Time to update you on the Boys on Film BFI Flare 2021 coverage. My name is Phil Marriott. I'm once again joined by Raj Rudolph and Sean Vickers. Thrilled to be reporting on this very important LGBTIQ plus film festival event. So, Cowboys, American drama, written and directed by Anna Kerrigan, starring Steve Zahn. Jillian Bell stars Sasha and Dowd from The Handmaid's Tale. I kept screaming at the screen, "Keep away from Aunt Lydia!" But obviously, different character.
Lydia, I know.
Yeah.
Let me just try. It helps me get my brain into the film, you know. So it tells the story of a well-intentioned but troubled father and his journey with his trans son into the Montana wilderness, and kind of the story and the rationale about how they found themselves there, their family life, and I guess the community and the impacts of that. But it really follows the life of Joe and his father in the Montana wilderness.
Very well put. I really like this. I found this really refreshing. I like the fact that it was about a trans boy's story and also that relationship with his father as well, because so often you see the trans girl's story, and particularly with the mother's emphasis on that as the family unit. But I thought it was really nice to see the male perspective of how a father deals with this situation. And there's so much to talk about. I mean, this film is loaded with so many plot lines and so much story development, which I'm happy to say was rounded off nicely as well, because the emphasis, I think, was on the trans story as it should have been. But there's so much other stuff going on that it does come back to that. So it didn't ever kind of neglect that important storyline, but it's just one of the many things that is going on in this movie.
For me, like, I think we're getting to the age where we're getting a plethora of quality movies, films, TV shows about the trans experience. And for me, this one really stood out because it is so much different as to some of the stories that we've seen so far. I mean, even when like gay cinema started to go into the mainstream, it was, you know, sometimes the films were a bit samey in their plot. But like you said, Phil, this one had something different to offer, something fresh. Even, you know, who would expect a trans story to come out of Montana, of all places? Not me, that's for sure. So yeah, I was just endeared so much by this film. It really is a standout for me, and I hope that it gets a bit more acclaim because it definitely deserves it.
What I really liked about it was rather than a child actor playing a trans story, it was a trans identified child playing the truth. And I really liked that around the way that Sasha and I, you know, how they identify and playing this role. And I thought his character Joe and the interaction with his father was really touching. There's that scene in the car where he kind of comes out and says, "I'm a boy," and his father initially is a little bit like, "Oh, it's nonsense, it's the phase, it's hormones." His father very quickly realizes that's his authentic self. And then there's that interplay with their mother. And what I found really kind of like heartbreaking is, you know, the father and the mother are going through are struggling, you know, and it's the children that always suffer. And in some ways, the mother uses Joe as a device to get back at the father, saying the reason why Joe's like this is you did this, and I'm trying to fix her. And father saying, no, you're not listening to the truth. But the child becomes part of this kind of like fractious breakup of a couple. And that I think is quite heartbreaking because Joe has actually got his head screwed on.
Yeah, because you see Sally the mother actually saying, "You filled ahead with all this cowboy stuff. You're the reason." It goes back to that blame thing, which we talked about with a different subject, obviously in It's a Sin that we covered on Unpacked. But it's a similar kind of thing, isn't it? That whole blame thing, pushing the blame onto him. He plays the character so brilliantly, father, Steve Zahn. I've got to say, there's so many emotions that he went through. He went through that kind of erratic behaviour, and he's obviously kind of dealing with his own health issues as well, so that's another part of the story that adds some real interest to the film. But he does that whole torment thing as well, and the film just gets progressively more dramatic as it goes along, because it starts off really peaceful and it has a really nice tone about it, a really positive tone about it, but then it just becomes really dramatic. But it never kind of veers off. It always stays true to the feel of what it started out being like, I think.
I think all the characters, even the mother, went through a bit of a transformation. I thought those scenes where she's in that five and dime shop looking at the cowboy toys, and you can see the shift changing in her eyes. And there's nothing even said in that scene, but you can see the transformation going on, and I really like that. I like seeing people change their perception of what they think their experiences are after living life and being forced into these situations. And as much as Joe, Sasha Knight's character, goes through a transformation, I think the transformation of the mother from beginning to end was really interesting to watch.
So true. And you know what's really interesting, Raj, is Jillian Bell, who plays Joe's mother, has genuinely done comedy roles before. As is Steve Zahn. They're more known for comedy roles. And so I think for the two of them to step into these quite serious roles, I think they did a really good job. I mean, the last time we saw Jillian Bell was that Jennifer Aniston vehicle, Office Christmas Party, like really frothy and light and nonsensical. But so it's amazing to see them both step into these quite serious roles and actually deliver. Because I thought the cast was standout.
These are characters that I really believed in as well, and I think that's really important when you're telling a story like this, because you need to feel that.
And when I think of Steve Zahn, I think of somewhat kind of dorky side character, supporting actor, best friend. He's never really stepped into the lead before, and he actually won. I think he won Best Actor at Tribeca Film Festival for this one. So. Even in his personal career, maybe a step forward as well. So I do fear that this movie is going to get overlooked a little bit because it's released early on in the year. I think it was released in February. But I hope it sticks with people, and I hope it continues to make that sort of film festival rounds, because more people need to see this.
Yeah, totally agree. I thought it was fantastic. I really enjoyed it. It's a really strong, powerful piece of cinema. It's 4 stars for me.
4 for me. And Aunt Lydia plays a good guy too, so
who knew?
Everyone's transformed in this movie.
That's what I was worried about.
It's a 4 for me, which I know is very generous for me, but it's a great film. It's definitely in the 4 bracket.
Thank you very much for watching, everyone. See you soon, guys. We'll do another film for the BFI Flare Festival, and don't forget to subscribe.